The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in our studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And we're coming to you tonight on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and Channel 54. And that's the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. My guest this hour is Lauren KORNGOLD, and Lauren is in the beautiful city of Miami, Florida. So, Lauren, welcome to the X-Zone.
Well, thank you for having me again, and I hope you're well, and it's wonderful to see you.
Lauren, we're having a bit of a problem with your audio. It's coming in very muffled.
Oh, I have my plugs in. Should I remove them?
No, it's whatever microphone you're using that's giving us the bit of the problem here. Could you speak louder?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
We can, but we're still having audio issues.
Let me see if I can increase the volume. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Are you using a cell phone by any chance?
Yes, I am.
That's the issue. All right, we're just going to have to see what we can do to compensate your audio feed over here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Lauren.
Okay, well, I am a psychic medium, and I am a professional paranormal investigator. They're not the same thing. I don't think they're the same thing, so I do both. I see spirits and I hear spirits, and I am also called in to investigate homes and buildings to see if there are spirits.
Now, I understand that you invented something. What was it? The
spirit telephone.
Tell us about that.
Well, actually, the spirit telephone is based basically on an old school telephone. It has a microphone, and it has a receiver, and it has a bunch of gadgets in between. It relies on sound waves being converted into electrical waves, then being converted back into sound waves. But in between that, there's a filtering process. Without getting too technical, it filters out low volume, low frequency, background sounds. And what it does is it records the voices of me or whoever's speaking and the spirits that are in the room as well.
Okay, because Thomas Edison also invented a telephone to communicate with the dead.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering what the difference is here.
Well, what the difference is that the microphone is really a recording device. And the recording device has a little bar on it that taps it, and that causes a vibratory sound wave. And for some reason, and I found that out by accident, the spirits seem to come through stronger when they attach themselves to the momentary sound wave. Then that sound wave goes through a filtering process, and it removes a lot of the stuff that, the background stuff, the air conditioning, all that.
Mm-hmm.
But it keeps the original sound wave, and the spirit voices come through much, much clearer. I found that out accidentally when I was doing a paranormal investigation. I dropped my phone on the bed and picked it up and just sat there and asked all the questions. Is anyone here? Who are you? And when I came home and did review, I found that the part where I dropped the phone and there was a vibration had more of a spirit response than the quiet time. So I repeated that process several times and found that to be the case. So for some reason, and I don't know what it is, these spirits attach themselves to this vibratory sound. Now it has to be a vibration that happens on the device. It can't be a sound, made, a couple of feet away. I don't know why, but that's how I found out about it, quite by accident.
You called yourself a professional researcher or a professional investigator. Yes. What qualifications does one have to get or have to become a professional investigator?
Well, you take some courses. That's the technical way. But the way I see it, it's really, experience. I've had a lot of failures. I've gotten quit. I forgot to change batteries and things have, died. And, you learn through experience what works and what doesn't work. What works for me, besides the spirit phone, is just a plain cell phone. That's what works for me to capture spirits. A lot of people use infrared cameras. I have those too. Or light grids. I have those too. I have all of that. But if you have a cell phone and a camera on that cell phone that works, you have everything you need to capture and communicate with the other side.
So just an ordinary cell phone works?
Just an ordinary cell phone. For instance, if I often when I'm called in to do a mediumship, to communicate with the dead, or to do a paranormal investigation, a lot of times I'll just bring my cell phone. Because if you turn on your, the auditory part of your cell phone and you ask questions and you give an appropriate amount of time, you can pick things up. If you have a camera, take pictures. There's always a filtering system on your camera that you can use. Monochromatic light, infrared light, everything in between. And often that's all you need. I just walk in with my cell phone a lot of times. And you always catch something if you know where to look.
So when you're talking about the auditory part of the cell phone, are you talking about the digital recorder app that's on cell phones? Okay.
Yes. I'm sorry. Spirits, they manifest themselves through light and energy. So if you can avail yourself of mirrors or clear glass, anything that's reflective or refractive, you're probably going to catch either a spirit guide or, maybe somebody in the home. What I tend to do is I make a little appointment. I introduce myself and say, I am here to contact you. I am going to take pictures of you in about 5 minutes. Would you please show up for me? And then I start taking pics with and without the light on the camera through glass, mirrors, reflective glass paintings, and very often, they show up.
So it's like a casting call for ghosts.
Yes, I do make appointments. I make appointments with my parents. My father shows up a lot, but my mother, I always say, Mommy, I'd like to talk to you tonight. Will you be around 7:30? And she does. So, yes, it is a casting call. Yes.
So when did you first realize that you had these gifts?
When I was about 5 or 6 years old.
Well, what happened?
Here's what happened was, I was a pretty sickly child. I had what they used to call the croup, that upper respiratory thing. And my mother used to put these bed sheets around my bed and put one of those vaporizers with the Vicks in there that gives you the steam. Okay. Well, one of those episodes, I saw through the opaque bed sheets that there were shadow movement of people. And then there was a lady standing at the foot of my bed. I knew she wasn't human. I didn't know what she was, but I knew she was not alive the way we know it. And she had light all around her, and she said something like, "Don't worry, honey, you're going to be okay." And then she was gone. I didn't even see her disappear. She was just there and then not there. And the shadows that were around me, who I never saw were also gone. That was my first memory of, what happened before that, I don't know, but that was my first memory of spirit contact. I did not tell anyone. I was not afraid.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that it was strange, and I never mentioned it. This is actually the first time I think I've told this story.
So what was it that made you decide to do this professionally?
Well, I feel I do not accept any money. I don't do this for money. I feel that I have been given a gift.
Okay.
And I feel it's meant to help people. There's I get a lot of calls from people. My brother died. My mother is dead. Can you help me communicate with them? I always get, are they in a good place? So, I feel that I help them by reconnecting them with their loved ones. Now that's the mediumship. Now the paranormal investigation part, I do get called out for that a lot too. Is there something in my house?
Mm-hmm.
That's, I always learn something when I do that. I learn a different part of the aspect of the spirit world because, I've been doing this a long time, but I still know, very little. How are they able to manifest themselves? Why can I see them sometimes with my eyes and other times I can't?
You and I have to take our first break. Please stand by. And Exonation Lauren KORNGOLD is our special guest. She's in Miami, Florida, and we'll both be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Beautiful Mind Coffee is delicious coffee your brain will love. Made with ethically sourced 100% Arabica coffee grown in the volcanic soil of the Tolima, Colombia region, Beautiful Mind Coffee is roasted and ground in small batches to ensure each bag contains a wonderful full-bodied artisan coffee. Beautiful Mind Coffee contains herbal ingredients to aid in boosting your daily mental clarity and focus. Maca root powder, green tea extract and American ginseng have all been selected for their ability to support good brain health. Taking care of your brain's health now can help delay or prevent the onset of cognitive dysfunction, including dementia, Alzheimer's, and more general memory loss as you get older just by enjoying the delicious flavor of our roasted coffee and herbal ingredients found exclusively in Beautiful Mind Coffee. For more information on Beautiful Mind Coffee, visit us online at www.beautifulmindcoffee.ca. Beautiful Mind Coffee is now available at amazon.ca.
Welcome back, everyone. And Beautiful Mind Coffee is the official drink here at the X-Zone Broadcast Network. And this portion of the X-Zone Radio Show is being brought to you by our good friends at Beautiful Mind Coffee. Lauren KORNGOLD is our special guest. And Lauren, what was it like the first time you saw a spirit, or as we call them, ghosties?
Well, like I said earlier, my first ghostie that I remember was the nice lady who told me, honey, you're going to be okay, when I was ill.
Yeah.
But it was interesting when I was about 7. I had been seeing them. It was interesting. I was seeing them, but not hearing them. I would see them and their mouths would be moving, but I wouldn't hear anything. Like the Pink Floyd song, your mouth is moving, but I can't hear what you're saying.
Sure.
It was like that. So I told my father, and I really didn't know what his response would be. I said, Dad, I'm seeing spirits, and he said, well, I don't know that much about it, but I believe in energy and I believe in consciousness. And if you say you're seeing them, are you afraid? No, I'm not. Then enjoy them. And then I guess my mind opened, and I just started seeing them, but I couldn't hear them. But then when I started puberty, I stopped seeing them and started hearing them, only hearing, voices in the house and walking from room to room, because they sounded like you sound, very alive, but I wouldn't see them. And then I guess when I was about 15, it all came together. I would see them and hear them at the same time. I don't know why. Maybe my brain wasn't ready for all of it, at once.
How does your family now look at what you do?
Well, both my parents are in the light. They're on the other side. My father had sort of a spiritualist background. His people were from Germany, and they were in a spiritualist movement. So he was sort of exposed to that, which I didn't know. The floating tables and the crystal balls, all that. So he wasn't, he wasn't a believer, but he wasn't a disbeliever. My mother was a disbeliever. And when she died at the hospital. And in three or 4 minutes, she was back at my house. And the first thing she said to me was, "You were right." I guess meaning that there's something, And when she comes back and she looks like my age. She died when she was 89. But, they show themselves the way they see themselves. And she sees herself as a young chick,
Sure. How do you know when a spirit is in your presence?
Well, yeah, I get asked that a lot. I mean, if you're me, you can see them, but not always. But if you can't see them, there are little clues that people ignore. There's hot spots and cold spots. There's you can hear whispering. Don't ignore that. If you hear whispering and you're really interested in, communicating with the other side, immediately turn on your recorder and ask if somebody's there, and give them 15 seconds or so to respond, and then ask your next question. Or sometimes something looks strange in your house, like a shadowy thing. I think everybody has that, but people disregard that because they're looking for like a full-blown apparition, and it doesn't always happen that way. Even for me, I sometimes see them and take a pic, and the pic doesn't look exactly like what I'm seeing. So hearing things, feeling things, sometimes the hair on your neck gets, stands up. Those are, and certainly if you see something wavy, for some reason, a lot of times they come in waves, like floating waves. Just start taking pics, and when you start doing that, I think your brain becomes accustomed to that, and it opens up. And then I think, we're all psychic to a certain extent. I think it opens up, and it becomes more clearer to you, because I can see spirits much better now than I did 20 years ago.
What about any brothers or sisters? Were they gifted like you are?
No. I'm adopted, but I have an adoptive family, and I have a biological family. And I don't know anyone who they may feel, not everybody wants to come out and say that, because they, it may sound strange, or they're worried about what people think. But I don't know of anyone who has that. No.
What was it like going to school with your friends, being a medium psychic?
Yeah. Well, when I told my father that day that I'm seeing dead people, and he said, if you say you're seeing them, you're seeing them. He said, let me give you a piece of advice, which I did not understand why. He said, if I were you, I wouldn't go around telling too many people. And I said, okay. And I didn't really know why, because I kind of thought everybody saw something. So I told my brothers, and I told a friend or two, and I never told anyone at school, so I never had a problem. Later on, I realized that if I had done that, if I had told people, I probably would have been looked at as being strange. So my father was trying to protect me, and probably, not have me labeled or, put on medication or have, does she have a brain tumor or something? So I never told people, but I could tell you this. When I was in the classroom, I would see them outside of the window. And my teacher one year wrote on my report card, your daughter is a daydreamer because she's staring out of the window all the time. But I was looking at them. They were out in the field, these spirits. But I never said anything.
Why wouldn't they come inside the classroom? Why would they only stay outside?
Sometimes they did, but they only a few times. But they were out in the field, and I never could understand what they were doing. They weren't really doing anything. They weren't playing soccer, or they weren't even looking at me. Sometimes they were, but a lot of times they were just, I don't know, I guess passing by. And so I would just look, I would just look at them. But I remember what my father told me: keep your mouth shut.
So why wouldn't these spirits just go to the light and stay over there?
They do. Some of them do. My grandmother, she's been gone since I was 15. She died the day before my birthday. She has only come to visit me once. We were not close. We didn't have any bad feelings. We just weren't close. So some of them go into the light and stay there. A lot of them don't, because the veil, I guess you would say, between the two worlds is really thin, and it isn't just on Halloween. It's very thin. And they come back, and when I ask them, they always say, I want to check on my family. I'm very attached to my family. I still feel like the patriarch or the matriarch of the family, and that's why. So it's kind of a dual existence. They are here part of the time, and they leave when they want to, and then they come back. My mother goes into the light, and then when I need her, she always seems to know. She comes back out.
Do people who are still alive spiritually go out at night?
Do they go out at night?
Yeah, for example, when you go to sleep tonight.
Uh-huh.
Well, let's say any of our listeners go to sleep. Do their spirits leave their bodies and travel around at night?
I have a friend. I'm not going to say any names. It's very interesting that you asked that. I have a picture of her. She's alive on this side.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know it, but she astral traveled to my house. I didn't know it either. I have her image. What I have is called a scrying glass. It's a clear glass, and it helps you see spirits clearly. Her image is in there, and I showed it to her, and she started laughing, and she said, "That's me." And I said, "Yes, it is." I have never seen anything like that before. I've heard of it. I've heard of astral traveling, but this is really the first time that I've seen it. She's alive, very much alive, and her spirit was in my house, but yet she was alive at home.
So it's like biolocation.
I don't know. I can't explain it. That is the strangest thing that I've ever seen.
Well,
I've never seen
doppelganger.
That's strange too. But I can't. She asked me, "Well, you're psychic. Don't you know what happened?" I said, "No." She said, "All I can tell you is that I was kind of out of it for 2 days." And she was, because I was over at her house. I walk her dog at night. And she was sort of out of it for 2 days. I mean, she'd wake up and she'd say hello and go back to sleep. And it was very strange for her. And when I went through my pics, doing some other things, I came upon it. I wasn't looking for it. And I couldn't believe it. And I showed it to another friend of mine who's a psychic. And I didn't say anything. And I said, "Do you recognize this person?" And she goes, "Oh, my goodness." She goes, "That's, whoever it is." She said, "Did she pass away?" I said, "No, she's very much alive." So, yes, it does happen. I don't think it happens a lot, though.
Do spirits see the future? Can they traverse time forward and backwards?
Yep. They know what. Yes, they do. But what I've been told is that they know something. In other words, like if I said, what's going to happen next Tuesday? They may say, well, there's going to be a car accident on a main street and or some other things. And then if I ask them, well, another question, they may say, I don't know. And I have said, well, how come you know this and not that? And they tell me they don't know why they know. They just know that when they know something, they know it. But they don't know why they don't know, everything. They don't know. But they can see the future.
Let's say I call you up and I say, Lauren, I've got a ghost in my house. I moved down to Miami, Florida. I'd like you to come over and conduct an investigation. How would you conduct the investigation along with the other people of the Paranormal Research Investigative Society of Miami?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for. I mean, if you said to me, I'm seeing things, or I hear things, or, there's creaking, or if you're asking me about a particular situation, I would probably just go over there with my cell phone, or maybe bring a team member who's into technology more than I am. I don't think it's necessary, but they like to do it. And I would say, okay, the first thing I would say to you is there any particular area of your home that there's paranormal activity, or you feel that there is more than other places? Because there usually is.
Okay.
And then I'd start there. Like, let's say you said it was my den. So I'd go into the den and I'd say, hello, is anybody here? My name is Lauren. I am a paranormal investigator. I'd like to talk to you. I'm a friend of Rob's. He wants to know if you're here and who you are, and are you stuck, or do you need help, or you're just chilling out? And I would introduce myself and let them get comfortable with me. And then I would turn on, depending on if I see something or hear something, I would probably start taking pics first if I heard nothing. But if I heard anything, I turn on, of course, record it. I mean, it depends. I mean, some people just want to know if something is there. Other people want to know, oh, okay, well, who is it? Mm-hmm. That's a different situation, because then I'm, it's a longer, I spend more time doing mediumship, because, they want to know if it's a grandmother, that sort of thing. But if you just want to know what's in your house, I'll just come over there with a cell phone and start talking, and it usually, I pick something up and it resolves itself.
So how do people get rid of these spirits that they don't want in their homes? Like, what do you do? Say, go to the lake, get the hell out of here, or, do you call an exorcist? What do you do?
No. Well, I first asked them, why do you want to get rid of it? Do you want to get rid of it because you think it's a bad spirit, or you just don't like spirits, you're scared of spirits? What I do, I have found that most spirits are very friendly, and they don't mean to frighten people. And I'll explain to them that, not everybody's like me, that they like to talk to dead people. Could you please, leave? Could you, go somewhere else? And they usually do. Sometimes they don't. And what I do is I light a white candle. Doesn't really matter what candle it is, but they seem to like candles. Light some incense, and open up a window and sort of smudge them out. But I generally don't do that, because most of the spirits are very nice, and when they're told, they don't mean any harm, and if they're told that they're frightening the people, they just leave. Now,
really?
if they don't, if they're mean spirits, well, then I get very nasty with them, and that usually takes care of that. I don't think they're used to girls speaking boy talk, so I use a lot of boy talk and tell them, to get the hell out if they're evil spirits or bad spirits. And I tell them I'm going to smudge you out if you don't leave. And that seems to, they're afraid of that. I don't know why, but they are. And that usually takes care of it. I've never had a problem of a spirit that's been exorcised, I guess, coming back. I've never had that.
Well, before you start using boy language around here or smudging me out, we've got to take a break. Exonation, our guest this hour is Lauren KORNGOLD, and you can find PRISM, that's the Paranormal Research Investigative Society of Miami, on Facebook. We'll be back on the other side of this short break. Whatever you do, don't go away.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
And we're back here in our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario. My guest is Lauren KORNGOLD, and she is in Miami. She is the lady who brings it all together with a group called PRISM, PRISM, and that stands for the Paranormal Research Investigative Society of Miami. Lauren, thanks very much for joining us tonight.
Thank
and
you.
I have to ask you, when talking to spirits, have you ever come across any famous celebrity spirits?
I have, and I don't give out any names. I've had, well, I have a policy, celebrity or not. If I see a spirit and I know who they are, I talk to their family first and get permission to, to post it. So yes, I do have a couple of celebrities that do come to me. They are musicians. They're very famous, and people would know who they are, but I can't say who they are until I, contact their family. However, I did have an encounter with Mark Twain, and I was able to contact some great cousins, and they gave me permission to post that on my prison site, and I did. And the other one was Edgar Allan Poe. And I was able to contact some great cousins, and they said, fine, that was terrific. So I went ahead and posted it with their permission. I never post a spirit who I know who they are, famous or not famous, without talking to their family. Now, if I'm at home and spirits show up at my house and I don't know who they are, then, I just go ahead and post it. But yes, I do. I don't know why they come to me. I've never met any of these. Well, obviously Twain and Poe I've never met, but I don't really know any celebrities, so I don't know why they come to me. One of them I asked, why are you guys coming to me? I'm not like the medium to the stars or anything, and they said, well, actually, everybody on the other side that I know knows you. And I said, really? I said, they said, you're the go-to lady, because we want you to know about us, that we're okay. And I had one person say to me, I know you don't post anything about me, but you're going to meet somebody in my family one day. So I'm waiting for that.
So the ghosts and spirits check out the internet?
I don't know if they, I don't know if they check out the internet, but the one particular spirit that says to me, you're going to meet my family one day. He comes to my house. I got pictures of him. I got a whole file on pictures and some audio and some video. I get him through scrying, which is, what I mentioned before about the clear glass, being able to see them. He comes to the house. So I'm just waiting. He's saying to me, you're going to meet someone in my family one day, and then you give them the file. And I said, sure. So I guess he's able to see that, So I don't, I don't know. So I have never posted anything of the celebrity that I didn't get permission for.
How much of what a medium says that they actually do receive from the other side is legitimate compared to how much a medium says they receive from the other side is, just a conjecture?
Well, it depends on what you're saying. I don't like to say anything. That's why I take pics. So, for instance, if I went over to your place and I said, Rob, your grandmother is here. I could be, that could be true, or it could be not true, or I could believe it. Maybe I'm not lying. I just believe it. But if I take a pic and I show it to you, then you tell me if that's correct or not. So I'm not like, you go to a psychic and they say, oh, your grandmother's here. And, that's, oh, really? What is she doing? I take a pic and I record her voice and I give it to you. And so then whether it's your grandmother or not. That's the way I did.
How clear is the audio that you record?
Very clear. Very, very clear. Even when I'm not using my spirit telephone, that was a plug. They're very, very clear. And one of the reasons they are clear is because I ask the question several times. I'll say, like if I say, what is your name? And somebody whispers, John, I'll ask it 3 or 4 times, so that it gets, so that we have a clear understanding that somebody named John is on the premises. So if you do something enough, if you ask enough questions over and over again, one of the 4 questions, one of the 4 times, it's going to be much clearer. So that's what I do. So on my recordings, you'll hear me say, tell me again what your name is. Tell me again what your name is. And I don't feed them information. I don't say, you're John, right? I don't feed any information. I just do a clear reading. Who are you? And I let them tell me.
All right. Now, here's a question that I ask everyone who comes up with recorded data. How come you cannot hear it when it's being spoken, if it is actually being spoken? Now, there's also conjecture within the paranormal community as well as the scientific community that what is actually being recorded are the thoughts of the people asking the questions.
Well, that could be possible, except for when I go to people's houses, I don't know who they're at, who they are. In other words, if I'm thinking this is John, I have to know that John lived there. But I'll have people call me up and say, can you come over or can I talk with you about a loved one that died? And I'll just do a call. For instance, somebody contacted me last week and said, my brother was killed. I want to know if he's okay. And I contacted my guides and they kept saying something, cool you. And I didn't know what that meant. So I contacted the woman and I said, I don't understand. Somebody's saying, cool you. And she started to cry. She said, that's my brother. In the Filipino language, kuya means older brother. And I said, so I don't know any of these people. So it can't be, I didn't even know she was from the Philippines. She didn't tell me anything except the name of her brother and the day of his birth. So that could possibly be true, that there could be some sort of, picking up of people's thoughts, but I don't know these people, and a lot of times I ask them, don't tell me anything, don't even tell me a name.
All right. Okay, I understand that. But what happens if the answer to the question that you're asking 3 times, like, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? And they say, John, John, John. What happens if the thought transference isn't coming from you, but the person who's asking you the question, who wants so badly to get some information, is the one who's actually putting their thoughts on the recording?
I suppose that's possible. I don't know how that wow, that would really be very psychic. I mean, I've never heard of that before.
Well, we know that psychokinesis is real.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We know that telepathy is real. So if telepathy is real, why can't the telepathic message be recorded?
Well, it can be, but I mean, I've done this, thousands and thousands of times. I mean, everybody can't be that telepathic. And besides,
why not?
I don't know. I just don't think so because, I guess it's possible, but also because in my situation, when I'm talking to dead people that I know, it's in their voice. It's not in my voice. And they have some idiosyncratic thoughts that I didn't know about, and that's been recorded. And then I've asked, the relative, something, something that sounds strange, and they go, "Oh yes, they know about it." I mean, it is possible. I mean, there's cosmic and brain waves flying all over the place. But that may be true, but I can't explain the pic, in the video.
Sure. All right, we're going to talk more about that when we come back from this break. Exo Nation, our guest this hour is Lauren KORNGOLD, and she is with PRISM. That's Paranormal Research Investigative Society of Miami. Just go to Facebook and check them out. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. And coming up at the top of the midnight hour, we have Denise Stoner. She's going to be talking about alien abductions. And then our final hour tonight, Lady Ashley, the White Witch of Niagara. All this and more tonight here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. Don't go away.
Beautiful Mind Coffee is delicious coffee your brain will love. Made with ethically sourced 100% Arabica coffee grown in the volcanic soil of the Tolima, Colombia region, Beautiful Mind Coffee is roasted and ground in small batches to ensure each bag contains a wonderful full-bodied artisan coffee. Beautiful Mind Coffee contains herbal ingredients to aid in boosting your daily mental clarity and focus. Maca root powder, green tea extract and American ginseng have all been selected for their ability to support good brain health. Taking care of your brain's health now can help delay or prevent the onset of cognitive dysfunction, including dementia, Alzheimer's, and more general memory loss as you get older just by enjoying the delicious flavor of our roasted coffee and herbal ingredients found exclusively in Beautiful Mind Coffee. For more information on Beautiful Mind Coffee, visit us online at www.beautifulmindcoffee.ca. Beautiful Mind Coffee is now available at amazon.ca.
And we're back. Our guest this hour is Lauren KORNGOLD. And first of all, Lauren, thanks very much for joining us tonight. Great talking to you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Listen, you talk to spirits, right?
I do.
Okay. Any messages from me from the spirit world?
Well, they're very happy that you're on your feet again.
Thank you.
Okay. And I'm happy about that too. There was no doubt in my mind that you would make a full recovery. You look wonderful.
Thank you, dear.
Just keep the impressions that when you contacted me to be on your show again, the first impression I got is that you really help people, because you give a platform for people to talk about things other people want to talk about but are afraid to. So you provide a wonderful service.
Thank
So
you
that's what they're telling me. Just keep doing what you're doing.
I promise you, and I promise them that I will.
Wonderful.
Listen, the time is coming very shortly. We've got about 4 minutes left. What are your final thoughts? What would you like to share with the X Zone Nation tonight?
Well, the first thing I would like to tell people is there is life after death. Okay, so death is nothing to be afraid of. I mean, we're all a little afraid of the unknown. I am too. But there is life after death, and it's not just for some people, it's for everyone. And your loved ones are not around you all the time. When people say they're around you all the time, they are not, but they are around you. They do come to visit you. They do come to check on you. And you do have guides and angels that are there to teach you and to protect you and to help you. They let you fail so that you learn from it. And, I've been, a lot of times spirits have told me to do something and I didn't do it. And I always, regretted not doing it. So they really have our best interest at heart.
Before we go, I'd like to say hello to one of our listeners out there who sent us a message. Keith Anthony Blanchard is his name, and he's a regular here on the X Zone. So, Keith, thanks very much for keep joining us over here. In fact, I'll just get Craig. Can you just put up that message? All right, there we go. Whoops. Hey, brother Rob. Thanks a lot, Keith. Where is your is your telephone available for sale? Do you sell it?
It will be in January. It's not now, not yet. It will. I'm perfecting it because I'm still getting a little feedback, which isn't just slightly annoying, but it will be available in January, and it'll be for sale. Yes, that I accept money for.
Okay, so I can just see this now. Hey, Jimmy, what are you doing? Hold on, Mom. Jimmy,
That's
put your
right.
cell phone down. No, Mom, I'm talking to Grandma. Don't be silly.
That's
Grandma's
right.
been dead for 20 years. How the hell
That's
can you be talking?
right.
Well, that's because, Mom, I got Lauren KORNGOLD's telephone here, and it's available at
That's
and so
right.
on and so forth.
And
Hey,
listen to your grandmother.
listen to your grandmother. Lauren,
That's
take
right.
care, my dear. Always
Thank you
great
so much
talking
for
to you. Keep
having
the great
me.
work up, and
Thank
we
you.
look forward to speaking to you again here in the X Zone.
I'm so glad you're well, and thank you for having me. Thank you
That's
so
my
much.
great pleasure. Oh, quickly, how can our listeners contact you if they have a problem?
Well, they can go to PRISM, Paranormal Research Investigative Society of Miami, on Facebook or Instagram, and just send me a messenger or post it. I don't know, am I allowed to give out a phone number?
Sure, go right ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, or you could call me 305-588-3647, and I respond to everybody. So
You're a good woman. Good heart.
that's
Thanks
sweet.
very
Thank
much.
you.
You take care of yourself. Stay out of trouble.
Oh, no, not too much trouble.
All right. If you get in
Okay.
trouble, let me know. We'll have trouble together.
Okay.
Take care, Lauren.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, hon. Bye. And that's it for this hour, X Zone Nation. Coming up at the top of the hour, I'm going to replay an interview I had with Denise Stoneman? Craig, help me out here. Denise Stone. And hour number 3. And in hour number 4, a very good friend of mine, a lady I've had the pleasure of knowing for nearly 40 years now, the one and only Lady Ashley. She is the White Witch of Niagara. Her name is Ashley Pollock, a wonderful lady, great heart. And if you're into witches, and if you think they're all bad, you're in for a surprise. I'll see you back here in about 12 minutes from now. People say, Rob, why do you cut off at around 48 minutes in the hour? It's because of all the different networks and radio stations and TV stations that carry our shows, that they need to put some insert in there, some commercials, station ID, networks IDs, and it also gives us a chance to grab a coffee. And of course, I'm talking about a Beautiful Mind coffee that's available at beautifulmindcoffee.ca. Give it a try. I love it. It's the official coffee of the X Zone Nation. I'll be back at the top of the hour.